What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Bartlett Arborist Supply. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up one of my favorite canopy anchors, the poor man's TwinLine canopy tie-off. Now, some of the things you're going to need. Well, you can use any old friction saver pretty much, but I prefer to utilize my Petzl Naja, and you'll need 2 ropes. All right, one is going to be set as an access line, and the second one is going to be your primary climb side for the rest of the tree. So now, as you can see here, I've got my kalimba already set up for the access side. And, you know, to initially set up the choke, what we're gonna do is I like doing an alpine canopy tie on this side. So I'm gonna bring this up just a little bit, and I'm gonna tie an alpine on here, and it's gonna be my choke side. So, you know, standard setup right here for a canopy anchor, a one and done type of deal. Now, one thing I'm gonna do different is I'm gonna send up the rest of my equipment so that it's up there waiting for me to do a system transfer. So down low, almost like if I was gonna do a Texas tug, so the second alpine is gonna go underneath. And this is gonna be used to send up my TwinLine, or not TwinLine, but my Petzl Naja, and additionally my second climbing rope or my primary line. So now here I can do, you know, you can just tie it off on there. I'm just gonna do a bowline just to make sure it's secure, it doesn't slip out and fall on my head, or I'm up top moving around, you know. So that's pretty much it. If you do have a different climbing system, like I'm gonna use dual runners, so they're both midline, so I can attach, detach at will. So this is the initial setup. Canopy choke, alpine butterfly. Underneath that, just like a Texas tug, I'm gonna send up the rest of my equipment, then it's gonna be waiting for me when I'm up there. So this is gonna go up. And we're gonna get this to choke as nicely as we can. And she's choked up. All right, now the next thing is, this is something that I've begun practicing this a lot so that I get in the habit of leaving an access line while climbing in the tree. So if this was a super large tree, once I do my system switch and transfer over to another line, I can have a second climber going up and, you know, doing a little bit of work, or myself going up and doing work at the same time. So as I go up, I'm working the back side of the tree or wherever side of the tree it's set for the access. And then do the system switch. If I was to get injured, you know, there's already an access line set up for that other person to ascend on. Or again, if this is a large tree, he ascends up, sets his tie-in point somewhere else, and now the access line will still remain free. But yeah, let's go up top. I'll show you how to reconfigure everything to the way that I like to climb. See you up there. All right, so we've successfully ascended the canopy or the crown of the tree, worked our way up. Now I've gotten to my tie-in point here for the alpine butterfly choke. So now it's time for me to do my whole transition over to the separate anchor. Now, the separate anchor, I can either choose to go back into a second stationary rope system, or I can go back into a moving rope system. But for today's case, I'm gonna have another stationary rope setup going. Now, I've got a little bit of an obstacle, right? I can either continue to go up this way, but this is gonna impede my movement a little bit, or I can spin around the backside of this limb or this lead, this trunk here, the spar, and begin my way up, because I'm gonna end up tying to a branch unit a little bit higher than I am. So I'm just going to spin to this point, and my canopy anchor is spinning with me. I have no concern of it slipping. I am through a branch union. Now, one of the great things about this is I've got a foot placement over here on my right. I can pull in, and I'm gonna switch my lanyard to forwards for a second here. That's because my positioning is gonna be higher than my hips. So another note that I like to do in this area is if I have space where I can move my tie-in, I can just slack a little bit. I'm secured in my lanyard. I can shift this higher and rotate it and recinch, which is one of the beautiful things about reconfiguring when I'm in this type of system or this type of scenario. But now, okay, tie-in's about chest level. I'm gonna disconnect here for a sec, and we're gonna just do a normal transition over. I'm gonna spin this Alpine a little more to this side. Okay, we're good. Choke off, spin over here. And now, I still need to ascend a little more, so I'm gonna go above my tie. And once I do that, I am gonna immediately establish some sort of secure method here. And for this, I have my dual bridge on my DMM Kinesi, take my Nomad, go around here, spin it. And now, make sure that's cinched up. Now I can comfortably lean back, fully set this in weight again, and continue to do my thing. Now comes the fun part of setting everything up. So stand clear, I've got loose gear coming out. I'm gonna leave this Alpine in here for now. And it comes into the point of, now I need to get my anchor set up. Okay. So again, I'm using the Petzl Naja right here. Boink. I'm going to go over through. And it's gonna go in as a normal setup. I can keep it tight. That's a little too tight for right now. But I'm gonna go right here, okay? Perfect. Leave that there in. Make sure I've got no type of twisting here, and if I do, I can always correct it by flaking my rope somewhere else. Okay, we're going like this. Actually, my bad, yeah. No, it is gonna be this side. Excusez-moi. And all this is just gonna do is, right now I can see how much rope I need to flake down. So once I have just enough at ground level, I don't flake out anymore. I'll just do my figure 8 on a bite. All right. I'm gonna take my carabiner, catch that in, set it, and forget it, okay? Next thing, establishing my tie-in point, or my second climbing system to it. As I mentioned, I'm gonna be on dual runners for a second. I'm not coming off rope over there until I fully load this or get this set in appropriately. So it's set there. Now I'm just gonna pop it in. We're gonna make sure the system engages. Beautiful. Now I can actually let go of the second runner that's on the other one. And again, you don't need to be on dual runners if you don't want to. You can have a hitch climber moving rope system or a Petzl zigzag. You can have all of that waiting for you here. I'm just choosing to do dual runners. I like the rump runners. Or you can have dual akimbos, right? Now here is where the retrieval portion comes into play of it. So every time I retrieve my system, it's a soft controlled method, okay? I'm gonna dip down a little bit. Slack out, just like that, so I can stand right here. Now, if this anchor was spanned out to, let's say, my right over here, I would not want to trace this Alpine or this retrieval leg of the Alpine jam smash cinch, the Alpine cinch, out there, one. And the main reason is when you go to retrieve everything, this Alpine butterfly or this belly that's gonna travel and traverse will snag, and you'll have a really hard time trying to retrieve it because you're gonna have that bend somewhere, and then it can get caught up on a nub, a limb, a branch union, and retrieval will be a pain in the ass. But on instances like this where it's located directly above, I can span this out so that it connects like this, or on a separate occasion, I can take accessory cord and just use this as a link between the two. So let's say if I wanted to do that, create a link, I would just do this here. And let's say, okay, that's more than enough. So I'll take one of my mini carabiners off my chest, take it to that alpine butterfly loop. Now there is a drawback, right? You have this loop of cord here. Like this is just one of the old cords I had around. I could cut it up and make it shorter of a tether so that this loop would not catch on anything. But this right here would be the preferable method if I was gonna span this anchor point out further away from the main stem here, okay? That way you don't have that belly of the retrieval leg laid out this way, getting caught up, hindering your retrieval process, all right? Hopefully that makes sense. But one of the glorious things about this too is I don't have to worry about needing a retrieval cone, right? I've eliminated that because the weight, or when I start pulling on this nausea or the alpine cinch, the nausea will pop out and come over, okay? Same thing you can do with a different friction saver. I like the nausea for my personal climbing style, right? But now I'm secured, that was fully weighted. I can take this nomad off, reconfigure some things around, but back to my hips. And I can reroute, I could have rerouted the rope also to come out this way, that way, or that way. And because I am on this style of a canopy anchor, I can take multiple redirects and still be able to pull my system fairly smooth out of the tree, okay? But now for the retrieval portion, I am going to come down, pull my stopper when I'm down at the ground level, and you'll see how the system retrieves. Again, this is the poor man's TwinLine. I've been doing this, I don't know, for a hot second now, and it's probably my preferred one because it gets me in the habit of installing an access line, leaving that access for somebody else in the event of emergency, or if that second person needs to access the crown to help me with this tree because it's so huge and we need to get it done in a good amount of time, okay? But again, I'm gonna start coming down. Oh, before I do, let me move this back down somewhere else. Close this up. Yoink, yoink, yoink. Stays right there. All right, let's get this retrieval done. Coming down. Okay, so I reached down to the ground. I've reached the ground level. I'm pulling on the side that has the stopper knot, the jam, and boom, it gets down to me. I can either choose to flake the entire length of this rope through on my side, or I can take the stopper out, depending on how much rope I have laying around on the opposite end, and then I can begin to pull back up and over. However it makes sense to you, I would say do it that way, but I'm just gonna pull it up so that it's gonna slip out of the nausea, and then again, no retrieval cone necessary, because now once I begin to pull on the kalimba's retrieval leg, it will bring the system down to me in a smooth, controlled motion. So now, okay, you see that? Now it's right there. Again, in this instance, I don't necessarily need that tether, but just to demonstrate and explain to you why the tether is used is pretty critical, because one, I'm not a fan of the climb of shame, and I've had to do it when I didn't use the tether and I was spanning my tie-in across the crown of the tree. But again, that's the poor man's TwinLine. All right, so again, tethered so that the retrieval leg is down in line, and when I pull everything down, this is always soft, in a soft retrieval. I don't have to worry about this getting damaged or damaging homeowner property, things like that. But now this comes down, as you can see, second alpine is the one that it catches into. Long tether, when the spans are, when the tie-in is spanned across, you don't want this deviated off with it, or else you'll have increased friction on retrieval, possibility of getting stuck. The more this is in line, the better. And now you pull everything down, boom, wrap it all up. And again, this is the poor man's TwinLine canopy anchor. Again, you can use stationary rope system or moving rope system off of that nausea or friction saver that you desire to use. It's my favorite, or has been my favorite and my go-to canopy anchor as of late. But yeah, thanks for checking it out. Visit bartlettman.com. Check out the app, download the app on the App Store or Google Play, and we'll see you on the next one.